Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. This is Mr. A, and today we're working on Unit 2 from Grade 7. The unit is called Proportional Relationship, and we'll be touching on some important aspect of this unit. Before we start, what's a proportional relationship? That's something you need to know. So, proportional relationship means a relationship in which there is two quantities. The relationship containing two quantities that change at constant rate, constant same rate, right? An example can be when you go to a store, bag of chips, a bag of chips would cost you, let's say, would cost you $2. And when you buy two bags, right, it'll cost you $4. So if you look into this relationship in the form of table, let's say you have a table for bag of chips and price in dollars, you see one bag would cost you $2, two bag would cost you $4. This would be times two times two. But the other thing you could do is, other way you could work on this is this way. A bag of chips and price would be, so for price, it would be one times two, the number of bag times two, and your two would be two times two, which would give you $4. So this is another way you can do. You're looking between the relationship between bag of chips and dollars. Every bag would cost you $2. So two bags would cost you $2 each. Two times two is four. That's a proportional relationship. The main aspect that you need to know when you're working with proportional relationship is this equation. Equation of proportional relationship. Equation of proportional relationship, which is y equals kx. Now, what does y represent over here? Y represent the dependent variable. Dependent variable. That depends on something else, right? X represents your independent variable, and k represents your constant of proportionality. Let's call it COP for a short name, right? Abbreviated names. Now, when you look at this, right, what's an independent variable? Something that does not rely on others. In this case, you could look at bag of chips. It does not rely on other, but the price, which is money, it depends on something else, the price you pay. So if you bought one bag of chips, you would be paying $2. But if you bought two bags of chips, you'll be paying more because you got more bags of chips. So here, price is your dependent and bags of chips is your independent variable, right? So bag of chips would be your X and price of total price would be your Y. Now, what's your constant? You see this number two, that's been multiplying, right? You have this number two that has been multiplying, same thing. So that's your constant of proportionality. That would be your K, COP. Another name for constant of proportionality can be your unit rate, and in some cases, scale factor as well. Scale factor that we learned in Unit 1 could be correlated with constant of proportionality. Now, if we're talk about unit rate, what do you mean by a unit rate? Unit rate. When you're talking about unit rate, it means per one, for every one, for each, right? For each. And when you're working with unit rate, it's easier to find unit rate. It is easier to find unit rate for independent variable. Independent variable. So let's say you have two things. You had a bag of chips and price. Let's say you started with two bags of chips that cost you four. Now you have to find unit rate, right? It's easy if you find unit rate for bag of chips because your money is dependent on bag of chips. If you're to find one, so what you could do is 2 times 2 gives you 4, 1 times 2 gives you 2. This is your unit rate. For one bag of chip, for one, that's unit, bag of chips, it costs you $2. But let's say you were to find out for $1, for $1, it would be half a bag of chips, which wouldn't be really viable, right? You couldn't buy half a bag of chips unless you're buying it with your friend, but that doesn't make sense. If you went to a store and asked them for half a bag of chips, they wouldn't sell you something like that. So this is something you need to know when you're working with proportional relationship. You need to know about your equation. That's y equals kx. Another way to write that would be k equals y over x. Same thing, different way to write it. You just switched it, like terms and everything like that. Keep chains flip, basically. Uh, this is for proportional relationship. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. But this is the very basics of proportional relationship. Thank you.